Hello everybody, it's Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember that you guys should become patrons over on Patreon if you guys want to join our Discord server, get early access, or give us suggestions. I think Yang's broken, and that's the only reason why you're winning so much.
I win fairly regularly with other people, but Yang also has a mechanic where if she gets hit too much, she goes all fire, and then her...
Her semblance? Yeah,
her semblance. They've worked that into the game.
Speaking of semblances,
They've
today...
worked that into this game better than they did in RWBY Clips.
We are going to talk about Jaune today.
Oh, this should be fun.
So...
I can't wait for the comments.
This is about his aura amplification, actually, so this is actually kind of interesting. So It's not about Jaune, it's about his semblance, which he happens to have. Anybody could have had it, but he has. Anyway, does aura amplification have a permanent effect, and does it drain Jaune? So I think that's two separate questions. So, by Jaune giving Weiss, part of her aura back, does that amplify her permanently? I'm gonna say I don't know yet. And I'm gonna read the rest of Aaron's, comment later. But he says, if you amplify something, doesn't it usually last? And I don't know. Because I have two answers, right? I think that because Weiss was near death, it's not a great example, if that makes sense, for the aura amplification, because I feel like we need to figure out if it amplifies something permanently, and to figure out really what it does, we need to be
Google, what does amplification mean? Pacification meme? That's not what I want. Okay, because when I think of amplification, I imagine,
I think of a temporary boost.
I think of just you're taking something and you're making it louder. That seemed more like you're making it more present. You're increasing it.
Yeah, but I think that Aaron's asking, does it have a permanent increase? I'm gonna say that the only way to find out is for Jaune to use it on someone that is already at full capacity. Because here's how I think about it, right? Weiss was dying. She didn't really, have any aura left, so all he did was, replenish her old aura. He couldn't necessarily add on to it. You know what I mean? Because, she was at 0. He filled her back to 100, if you want to call it that, right? But if somebody's already at 100, and he gives them another 100, is it then 200, and is it a permanent 200, or do the effects fade after a while? I think that's a pretty interesting question, but I think that we can't answer it because he's only used it once. I feel like the mechanics will become clear as he uses it on somebody with full health, basically.
They also say, amplification, but it looked more like a sharing. It reminded me more of, a blood transfusion.
I don't know what to tell you. That's what they call it, so.
Yeah, because do they, officially call it that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because it reminds me more of a blood transfusion, and I mean, yeah, your blood, someone else's blood will be in you for a time, but... Also,
after a while, you'll remake your own blood.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So I think that's a good idea.
And so I'm just maybe you have an increase, because I feel like I need
a boost. But what if somebody transfuses blood in you when you don't need a blood transfusion?
Now you just have extra blood.
Is that
you have higher blood pressure?
I don't know.
That's a good question, and I really don't know.
Does it drain Jaune's aura? Alright, so this is where, so if you amplify something, doesn't the effect usually last? So that stands to reason that Jaune could permanently amplify his ally's aura. So that's what we were kind of talking about in the first part, that we'd have to see permanently if maybe, again, like I said, if we're going to use this as some sort of bar, Jaune adds an additional 10% to somebody's aura so they can last longer, or something like that. Jaune basically gives you Viagra.
Viagra!
It makes you
it's
laugh.
like regular Viagra, except you can kick ass with it.
Anyway, so the second part of, what Aaron was saying is that now amplification doesn't necessarily mean his aura is drained, but perhaps he has to sacrifice part of his aura to permanently amplify others. This could be an interesting concept because it's a double-edged sword. Could greatly amp one, but potentially kill the other. This should not be something that Jaune relies on, because he must be careful when and how he uses it. So I think this goes back, somebody else mentioned it, that this may go back to Nora's question, don't you have a fear of running out? And I feel like aura refills, we know that, right? And so I feel like there's only two things that are happening, right? He refilled, it's like a gas tank. He refilled Weiss's aura, which was already on empty, right? If you fill your car with more gas than it needs, what happens to your car?
Okay. Well, they said that you've already seen Jaune's aura, and in the RWBY Grim Eclipse game, he gives people boosts.
Yeah, and
for
it's
a brief
temporary,
period of time.
Right?
So what I'd imagine is that it's just like it's
but
like he can buff and debuff.
Does it
or not
permanently
debuff,
take pieces away from him? I don't
know
know because it's
people
it will
can
refill.
break their aura, so it's just like. Hey, I'm growing strawberries, but I give you strawberries. But I'll grow more strawberries, and my strawberry containers will be full again.
So here's what I'm thinking about that, though.
I don't know why.
What
I went
if
with
you
strawberries.
pick the strawberries too fast and you don't leave any more for yourself? And what I mean is what if, like, I'll use the example again. You're filling up your car with gas. But the thing that you're using at the gas station is also running out of gas.
Okay.
That needs more gas soon before it dies. Let's just say that it'll die if it runs out of gas. Right? And so what I'm saying is, if Jaune replenishes more than he has at that moment, it would end up killing him, right? Like, that's just kind of...
Yeah, it would
right?
stand to reason, yes.
You know what I mean? And, like, I can't think of a better example, but it's like the blood transfusion thing. If I'm giving Hunter my blood, but I already don't have any, that's just gonna kill me.
So it's best for
Jaune
to give, like, just a bag and not, like, hang himself up by the ankles and slit his throat to drain it all, you know? It's a different process.
So I think that would be really interesting if Jaune was giving out more than he was regenerating, if that makes sense. I think that would be really cool in terms of a concept, for the show, that he keeps amplifying someone and they're like, Jaune, you have to give us more, and he's like, okay, right, but he doesn't realize that he's going on empty while he's filling up someone else, and then, he just starts to get hurt, he has to recover, right? But that could be interesting, because Jaune seems a little suicidal. Jaune's like, what? I don't care what happens to me as long as my friends get to kick your ass, right? That's kind of what he said. He didn't say it like that. But, like, he's ready to die. I feel like that's foreshadowing. You know what? To give up all of his aura for somebody else. Like, I feel like that's definitely a foreshadowing thing. Because he said that. What do you want me to do, Hunter? He said that. You know what I mean? So it could be something that comes back to bite him in the future is that... Or maybe not bite him, I guess, if he wants to die. But, like... that could be something that happens later. It's like, oh, I'm running out, but you guys need it more than I do, so I'll just die. Feels real sad, I guess. Anyway, that's just kind of all that I have on that. But I don't know. What do you think? Actually, I'm gonna read more of the conversation that we had in the Discord. Hazel, by Nora's words, recharges his so quickly it's almost alien to her. And Crow's reasoning of sheer willpower. Jaune can probably refill his too. And I feel like that's another thing. As you train more, you can probably refill faster, right? Because, they said something like aura, if you train your aura, you can become something more than just man. Right? They said that a while ago in a World of Remnant or something. So I wonder, like, I don't know.
Like a bird.
It's like, I guess, when you're working out, and, like, you start on one weight, but then that weight becomes child's play for you, and you need to go up one. Like, I feel like that's kind of what it could be. Like, Jaune can expand his capacity. They all can expand their capacity as they grow stronger. You know what I mean? Kind of like Hazel does, because he's, he's kind of a full-fledged huntsman. He knows what he's doing, I suppose you could say. So, yeah. I think Carmen is broken. So I don't know why you keep picking them. Because I heard somebody say that they are not the best.
But that's always the case.
I think Yang is broken, to be honest. I think that she... But, okay, here's the thing, though, guys. We're playing the computer, right? Because I don't have PlayStation Plus, so we can't play with the online people. Like... Hunter would get his ass positively kicked in the online mode of this game.
I think I played a bit in the beta, and I did get my ass kicked.
If you guys wanna get me some PS4 Plus so we can play...
Oh, God.
So we can play Blaze Blue with you guys. Remember that you guys should become patrons over on Patreon to join our Discord server, get early access, and request videos, because like I said, this was a request. Not that I'm running out of ideas. I mentioned this in another video. What I want to do is, I have an idea for a series where Hunter and I do character analysis, but just character analysis. And I have a title for it, but I don't want it to be stolen, because I think that it's clever. Like, maybe it's not as clever as I think that it is, right? But I'd like for us to start doing some of those, because not that I'm getting bored of the shipping and the theories, but we're just running low, right? The fact that we are able to make theories basically all year round about something that ended like 7 months ago, I think is pretty impressive on its own. So like, you know, not to brag. But anyway, I guess that we will see you guys later. Bye, guys.